Hey, it's Darren with Arbitrage Trade. It's time for deep dive with Daniel, and he kind of introduced me there with his motion or something like that. I don't know the ha.
I got the dad finger guns.
Of course, that yes, pew pew. And this is Daniel, of course, Hopwood, and he's the next institutional wealth manager. And we are going to talk about something that is this time of year. It has a couple different names that people call it, but it is how to play the year-end market trends, and it's usually called the Santa Claus Rally. And that means different things for different years. So you bring facts and figures to clarify what that is, and then you tell us things to kind of take advantage of this time of year when we're trying to figure out what the heck is going to happen the rest of the year. So the it's not just about Thanksgiving, but that's when it generally will start. Sometimes before that, but generally around Thanksgiving until the end of the year. So give us some info there, Daniel.
Yes, so on average, 71% of the time, the S&P rises between Thanksgiving and New Year's Eve. And with that rise, the average gain during the month of December, so it's minus a few days of what we just talked about, is 1.25%. Everybody likes to end on an up year. You know, wealth managers, hedge fund traders, nobody wants to end the year down, right? So, we typically see a little rise in the end of the year just to make sure everyone is happy and goes into the holidays with a little extra spirit and, maybe money in their pocket.
So maybe I'll give those guys more money after the end of the year, right? So to start off the new year with, because we were so happy about the end of last year. What have you done
Yeah,
for
and
me
then,
lately?
I don't know historical trends for January, but maybe they're not great.
Yeah, I gotcha. That's what everybody gets their bills for what they spent, and think, "Oh man, I might need to put some of that money actually towards bills."
hmm
So what are some of the factors that we have that drive those year-end gains, supposedly?
Yeah, so the first one is kind of holiday cheer, if we will. We just talked on After the Bell about what consumer spending means on, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and how much confidence kind of the consumer has going into the holiday based on what they spend. And, we can split the numbers a million ways, which we did. And,
Right.
there's a lot of things to factor in. But, right now, the consumer seems pretty confident they spent more than last year. That we can tell even on a real basis. The other thing is portfolio rebalancing. So we have portfolio managers, wealth investors, individual investors like ourselves that are closing positions for tax loss harvesting, rebalancing their portfolio into maybe things that are they're going to expect to outperform next year at the beginning of next year.
Mhm.
And all those things kind of move money around and help it potentially go up into the end of the year, barring any extreme events, which there are plenty on the potential horizon for us.
Yes, they might be seething right now. Will they burst?
hmm
Then we throw in the little extra this year, which is election year. So that happened,
hmm
and then we have to experience whatever that means. The Trump bump, I think, is something I've heard recently. If you haven't heard that yet,
I
but
have not.
yeah, the Trump bump. I don't know. People get paid to come up with these things. Um, so, what is the plot twist here, Daniel?
Yeah, so the week of after Thanksgiving, typically, markets only have about a 53% chance of dropping, right? So pretty minor right now. So far this week, we've seen it rise, right? We're at all-time highs.
Mhm.
But during an election year, there's actually a 67% chance that the market drops, historically, during that 1 week. Now, that being said, after that little dip, you know, people seem to come in and buy that dip 75% of the time, and the market ends higher during, essentially in December on an election year. So, odds are already pretty good that things are going to go up, right? Short little dip that first week, up and through the end of the year. And odds are even better in an election year.
So as they love to say on CNBC, "Buy, buy, buy." No, what they love to say is the, dip before the rip, right? That's what,
You
they
know,
love to say.
Darren, when I was a kid, I wanted the Jim Cramer soundboard so bad. I thought that was the sickest thing ever.
All those buttons.
Bye, 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 bye. So. Yeah, like
I
cow
still think
noises
that
and
that's
stuff.
not
Like,
I don't think that's actually connected. I think somebody behind the scenes actually pushes whatever should
well,
be pushed at that point.
I
He just
do,
pushes
but
any
I think
button.
there's only 4 buttons that like work.
Yeah, maybe so, yeah,
You
not
know,
the
like I've
40 that
only
seem
seen
to be
like
on there.
four noises, and there's like 40 buttons.
That's right. I just want the Jim Cramer mute button. Where's that? Push it off.
No, no, no. We need our inverse indicator of what to do.
That's true, that's true.
Please don't talk about crypto.
That's called the Nancy Pelosi index. All right, not anymore though. Retirement. So let's go to some questions. Let you answer some questions for us. First of all, is this something that we can rely on every year? Is the Thanksgiving bump?
I mean, no, just like everything else, you got to factor in the year, the market cycle. You kind of never know when a crash is coming. If you do, you're really smart and probably pretty rich. And in this case, we have a bunch of white swan events that at any point could rise and cause a drop in markets. Which if we've learned anything through these different deep dives, if you get a war, you know markets will turn down into the war. The moment it starts, you typically want to buy because markets rip after that.
Yeah, I know it.
Just a
Well,
sad statement, but I'm sorry it's
black
true.
swan,
And
white swan. I mean, there's going to be swans of some type. Has to be, especially at the volatile point we've gotten to. I
I mean, I,
think.
th- I think there's a lot of white because we know they're there, right?
I think so. What sectors should we be looking at during this time?
So retail and consumer discretionary, because Black Friday, Christmas shopping, um, those are typically going to go up. And then you can also think about technology stocks. They're either spending their end of year, the budget into the end of year, buying more things, or companies are buying from them at the end of year with the leftover budget that they have to get the latest kind of gadget. When I used to work at IBM, if you had a good client relationship at the end of the year, they'd say, hey, we got an extra XYZ laying around, kind of, what do you got for us? And you'd get a little freebie sale in there.
Gotcha. I think you also said to not necessarily just jump straight in after Thanksgiving. Just kind of, I guess, feel your way what the market's doing before, not just
Mhm.
an automatic buy, um, which you should always do. You also mentioned. I don't think we mentioned this, by the way. Is to use AI, right? That like what we offer here at Arbitrage. Like
Yep,
if
yep.
because let it decide for you instead of you have to sweat it out on, is this the week that it's gonna bump up or down kind of thing, right?
Yep, can definitely help you get in and get out, wait till the dip is right to get in, or if things are, running too hot or looking like they're going to go down even further from where they are, help you manage your positions. And,
I mean, that's
honestly, it's one of the things that makes it great about, using something like arbitrage, is that when the holidays roll around, you can, focus on doing holiday stuff with your family instead of stressing about what position is where and what you should do with it.
just kinda set and forget, which I mean, that's what they're doing. That's what the algorithms are doing. I mean, what percent is algorithm trading now? So, I mean, why not
It's
use
like
this
well over 50.
so why not use the same tools they do so you can just sit back
Mhm.
and while they worry about it and just collect. But yeah, if you want to find out more about that, go to arbitragetrade.com and you'll see all the educational there. If you just want to learn about trading in general and you're just starting, then you can start there and just look through all of our site. And then if you decide to take a dive after being educated, then we have a bot you can use for foreign exchange and eventually for equities as well, right?
That is coming in the new year, I believe.
Exactly, exactly. Anything else you want to add about how to minimize your risk? I mean, besides the AI, I mean, you said something about stop loss orders, and which I always try to put whenever I do the pick of the day. I always say set stops and limits, and so
Yeah,
again, you're just
set your stops,
yeah.
know your exit and entry if things go right or they go wrong. You know, if you fail to what is it? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail.
There you go.
So, make sure you're if you're gonna trade, have that plan. If you're gonna do, some long-term investing, make sure you're finding something of value and ready to ride any potential holiday volatility that could come in.
Right. That's you talk about the seasonal, short-term volatility and economic headwinds, making sure that you take a, because our computers know exactly what's the long-term trend is. It's all those little small in betweens that can be
Mhm.
tricky. So you gotta pay attention to it and set your risk levels so that you don't pass those. And another big one is just don't be cocky. Because it's those cocky people that the big guys love because they're the ones buying at the top, right? And then that rug
Mhm.
pull happens and they make money off of you. So don't be that guy. All right, anything you want to wrap it up with there, Daniel? Before we finish up
I
here?
hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving, and don't forget to tax loss harvest if needed, Darren. Um, and
He's talking about my
don't
portfolio. He says I need to take
I
those
would never.
losses,
I would never.
take the L's. Hey, I'm doing options now, so we're on our way back to averaging down. That's a whole
Okay.
nother.
Okay.
That's a whole nother deep dive with
Do,
options.
do, do, do we want to do the deep dive with you next week, and
Oh no, we're not going to pull my portfolio out. No way.
we can talk about position management?
Yeah, and being overconfident and conspiracy theories, all that good stuff, all thrown into one. All right, Daniel. Appreciate you bringing this up. Timely as usual and very educational. And I will see you next week on Deep Dive with Daniel.
Have a good one, Darren.